Right. All right. So welcome, Amanda. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for taking time for sharing lessons learned. Congratulations on your PMP exam success. I'm really happy that you have passed PMP exam. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much. I'm ecstatic. I'm just thrilled to have the certification, but then also very relieved as well that I only have to take it one time. And then I also had told a lot of coworkers at work that I was going to be taking the test. So to not have to say especially with how many projects I lead at work, to be able to share that success was incredible. So very happy.
Wow, wow, amazing. I'm also super happy because I was sure you're going to pass the exam because the energy, participation, engagement during the class, that shows everything, right? I was sure that you're going to pass the exam. If someone is dedicated, committed, then this exam is not a difficult thing. All right, let's start with brief introduction of yourself. Where do you live? What's your qualification? Where do you work? And then I'll jump directly to your exam preparation journey.
Perfect. I'm Amanda Calamari. I'm based out of Denver, Colorado. I currently work in the cybersecurity industry for the government. And again, didn't have the formal certification until now, but used a lot of those principles from PMP in the work that I'm doing to build out our cybersecurity services portfolio. So just being able to have more of those tools in my toolkit and the terms that are used was huge. So, oh, Amr, you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Because normally I never muted, so I'm not used to it.
You don't
Okay.
have to.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us about your exam journey or preparation journey. When did you start about the course, and then what's the strategy that you followed?
Yeah, so I think a huge part of uh, the success with the exam came from because I had a lot of the professional project management experience. So I was, again, like using a lot of the agile project based methods, but not having those, again, those official names and extra best practices that I was able to get from the boot camp. So I think a combination of the professional experience, the boot camp was key. Just to have a crash course and like, okay, you can understand these concepts and use them, but to really make sure I knew um, the like reference terms, um, huge. And then also the way that you taught the class was really impactful because you had an expectation of participation and it was very engaging. So you were always wanting to, in the breakout sessions too, just getting to talk through things with your peers who were all over the world, which was another interesting experience. But the boot camp, and then so I took the boot camp the end of January, and then took the exam 4.5 weeks later. And so with that, I kind of just ripped off the Band-Aid, set a date, realized I knew enough to take the test. And then because I'm a full-time working mom to two toddlers, I didn't have as much time to study outside of work. So I really crashed on studying that weekend before the test. And I only had a few hours the Saturday before. Studied for probably 8 hours on Sunday, 9 hours on the Monday before the test, took the test. And something else to mention is I did buy the Freedom Milk Pay PMP prep book. and in there, really just to skim through it to make sure I really understood the concepts. She had some key tips for taking the test in there. And then there was also like a code to use for online practice questions. And I think between crashing on all the material, rereading the boot camp material, writing down and doing note cards on all the concepts to make sure I had it down pat. Um, and again, just becoming familiar with the language and how it was used, and because it's very easy to see multiple answers to a question and just getting comfortable with, okay, there might be multiple answers, but what is the best one? And so those prep questions really truly were the another key to really performing above target on the test.
All right, great. How difficult was the exam?
Um, I would say doing all of those prep questions in advance made the test more reasonable. Um, so it really wasn't it wasn't as hard as I expected it to be. I think it's easy to kind of psych yourself out when you hear it's so difficult. But again, if you just get comfortable with the way the questions are asked, it's very manageable. And I think the biggest thing was just I did the test in person, and I really had no idea what to expect doing it in person at the Pearson Center. And um, a room full of people, you're in your individual, they do the pat downs before you go in the room and you take your individual test. Um, and I think, again, like just staying calm, relaxed. I think you were a great reminder of that. Like you saw from the boot camp, I knew I participated and I knew the concepts, and just having that pre-study time, staying calm, went into the test. The first 60 questions were pretty, it was easy to get through that section. And I think just the time of the test was probably the biggest challenge. And I took those 10-minute breaks just to reset, because you don't really feel the length of the test until you get to that last 60 questions. And that's where it really, you're a little tired. just getting through that. It's definitely manageable.
All right, so you're saying after the mock exams, it was relatively easier.
Taking a ton of mock tests, not for any particular topic, and just doing it for the online test prep that Rita had. Just doing questions from all areas was helpful for me, because then it again, like I went through, and anytime I missed a question, just went through, wrote down the concept, added it to my little note card stash, and then just before the test went through the note cards one last time to make sure, like, okay, you've got this. Just kind of I need to process things multiple ways between listening, writing it down, applying it, so it kind of all worked for my style.
All right, what was the percentage of average score during those mock exams?
Do you know? I don't know, because
Okay.
each question they actually had, I would read the question, see what I thought it was, and then in the moment there was like a cheat sheet kind of thing where you could see what the answer was in real time. And so that for me, I could say like, okay, yes, I've got that right. Or if it was B or whatever letter, I could help myself in the moment understand why. So I didn't actually really score. And then towards the end, I started doing after doing it multiple times, practicing the questions and kind of just understanding it again. I went through, probably was averaging like 90% on the test. So I felt comfortable with the last two practices I did. So
Wow, 90%. Amazing. Okay, and uh, what are the resources that you use for preparation? One, you said PMP exam prep book that you have just shown. Apart
Yeah,
from that, what else did you use?
the boot camp,
Okay.
boot camp, and the prep book and questions key. That was the biggest thing. And again, having that background, that project management background, and real life application just made everything easier to process and understand. So I didn't actually take, I only took a half a day on the day before the test. I didn't take any time off of work
Right.
really.
And how much total time you spent in preparation? Like, if you could tell us in terms of days or hours, any rough idea?
Probably 17 hours, like 20, no more than 20 hours of studying just before the test. Um, I
Okay,
think
total 20 hours or just
total 20 hours probably.
so means you studied only for 2 days, like 8 hours or 9 hours. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God.
like again, working full time,
Yeah.
being a mom, I wasn't able to and the great thing is I didn't really need more time to study between the real life application, the boot camp being, again, you did an exceptional job teaching the class. Um, Everything you covered was was again like key to just making sure I had all the big concepts and then just skimming through Rita's book, answering the questions. That that was all I needed. It was perfect. Because
Yeah.
there's almost an over, like if you overdo it, then you're like building yourself up so much. And so for me, the biggest thing to taking a test is just staying calm and not um psyching myself out.
All right. And this is what I was saying to today's course, students in today's course. Like, if you are, you know, active and engaged during the sessions,
Yeah,
then half of the preparation would be done during first 4 days.
100%.
Yeah.
I
So,
with that you focus on the concepts. I think another thing was just kind of going back through. So I had taken extensive notes when I was in your class. So not only did I go through like your sheet with all the,
wow.
I go through your sheet, but I went through my notes to make sure that I, like, again, could just write out in order what was happening during pre-project and what was happening during the project and post-project to like make sure the concepts were grouped together. Um, so it all made logical sense to me. So
All right. And what was the composition of the exam in terms of agile methodology and waterfall methodology? Uh, what's the distribution in terms of percentage, if you could roughly say?
um honestly, Amr, I couldn't tell you because I was just so in the moment and trying to like answer all of the questions. I think it felt like there was actually a lot of project based waterfall type questions. Um, there was probably like five or so math, like more math heavy questions.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that was, but there's a calculator on the
Yeah.
computer. And so it was all really well.
There were calculation-based questions as well,
Yeah, there was a few. Hmm.
regarding earned value analysis or estimation.
Yes.
Okay, right. And what about time management? How did you manage your time? Was it
You were
easy?
completely spot on with I think it was 80, 75, 75.
Yeah.
I finished like 25, 30 minutes early.
Okay.
Um, and I just stayed with that pace of just those prep questions helped so much to just get prepared for just reading through everything. And it was just state study. If there was one that I was second guessing or was going back, I marked it to revisit it. But kind of what you suggested, like I only ended up having like 3 questions to revisit in each section. So it was, and I honestly, I think I only changed like 1 question. So I probably shouldn't have second guessed myself to begin with. But
All right, great. Yes, this is the simple strategy I used to tell to my students, like take the sessions, attend the boot camps, right? Stay engaged, take notes, then read this book once, then
yeah,
solve mock exams, and then just go for the exam.
that's perfect advice because that's what I lived and it worked out really, really well. Um, so definitely worth the investment. Um, I think it was like $80, but completely worth it.
Yeah, it's a really good book. It's a really good book, and it's very simple, and the steps it has laid down, and tips and tricks, and all the topics are covered. So I found it, comprehensive in terms of covering the exam content. So if you read this book once, or one of the students was suggesting to read it twice. So even if you do that, that would be really helpful to you. And 100% of the content is covered. So have you found anything that we didn't cover, we didn't talk about, and you saw in the exam?
Great question. I think that there was probably one tip that was in the book. I can find it and send it to you. I think just in general, like there was a process. You can't even see this in the video, but there was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
there was a process chart that was really just like, again, just seeing things in a different way, even if you did cover it. And there was just one suggestion in the book for like when you see a question on the test, um, just it's agile. And so that was really helpful to just have those tips and tricks in the
Yeah.
book. And I am so thankful I took the boot camp, um, just to get everything all at once, what was going to be covered. But otherwise, I think you did a great job. But the book was definitely a helpful reinforcement.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. And did you take the exam online at home or in the exam center?
In the exam center.
And how was your experience there?
Yeah, so I think again, just staying calm, trusting that you know the material and you've practiced. I think that was probably the biggest part, and just taking those 10-minute breaks. Um, that was definitely key to just getting through the whole experience. And I think it was so much fun to find out the results in real time. I think that was probably the biggest incentive to take it in person versus online, because as soon as I was done, and when you're in the testing center, you can't get up and walk away without a proctor. And so I raised my hand, they took me out and had the results printed off, which was so fun to just find out that I had passed. So it was great.
Great. So there is a myth like PMP exam is a very difficult exam. A lot of people fail the exam. So after your experience, uh, what would be your advice to PMP aspirants who are thinking about preparing for the exam?
I think first, just make the investment in yourself. You'll be thrilled when you pass and you get the certification. I know for me, there's work benefits that I'm very excited about, that come with having the certification. And I think just the boot camp is worth the money. The book, the exam prep is worth the money. And again, you're getting this certification to make yourself more marketable. And there's just so many principles that you learn through studying for this, that you may already be using in your day to day, but to have those that official,
Title.
yeah, there's just the official information is just so key. So it was an awesome experience.
And one more question, apart from passing PMP exam, the entire process, preparation, reading book, going through the boot camp, do you think like uh, it really adds some value in terms of knowledge and skills?
The boot camp, absolutely. I would highly recommend the boot camp, and just staying engaged there and not not being afraid to just test what you know and refine it. So I think the boot camp was key.
All right, great. Last question from my side. When did you get your result?
Oh, immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah, because it was
That's
in person. So got it as soon as I was done with the test. It's like a provisional pass is what the form says. And then it was like 2 days later, I got the official results and breakdown of everything, which was all I cared about was that I passed. But interesting to see like which areas I was, um, just in general, just neat to see how well I did. That's great.
all right, great. I think we have covered most of the things. Amanda, this video would be really helpful for people who are preparing for the exam or thinking to prepare for the exam. Thank you so much for your time. Once again, congratulations, and you really made me proud, and I'm really happy for your success.
Thanks, Amr. You were a fantastic teacher. I appreciated the words of encouragement and just you staying, like asking me where I was and did I sign up and keeping track of that. You really care about your students, and that just shows throughout the whole process. So I was very thankful for you, and then also good luck to everyone. You can do it, believe in yourself, and you got this.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Take good care of yourself. We'll be in touch. Good night.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.